In database, you can now create different instructions, a query or a form or a report, where you can tell the program that you just want certain information on that list that you are requesting from it. That's what makes a database program so nice, is you don't have to print the whole database. You can just select and request certain information. Now the first one I want to show you is a query. You will click on create. On top there you will see query wizard. You will always use the wizard, whether it's a query, whether it's a form, or whether it's a report, you will always use the wizard. So for this exercise we are going to do the query. So we click on query wizard. As soon as you click on query wizard, your new query wizard little block will come up. On the first page, it just asks you what type of query would you like. The default is simple query. You keep it there and you click on OK. On the next block, the question is, which fields do you want in your query? You can choose from more than one table or query. Table and queries. At the moment, we have just created one table. We've created the table tomato stock and your ID number. There is no other tables to select from. If we look at our instruction on the left-hand side, in this question, we'll create and edit queries in the database. Use the table tomato stock. Read your instruction. Use the table tomato stock. There's my table tomato stock. And create a query using the following fields. On the left-hand side, you've got your available fields. On the right-hand side is the fields that you are going to select for your query. The first one they say we must use is name of product. So you can double-click on name of product and it will jump over to selected fields. Supplier, double-click. No. Supplier, double-click. Date received, double-click. Price of stock, double-click. And stock available, double-click. So the fields that we've selected will jump over to the other side. If you've made a mistake, like I've done, you can just click on the field that's not supposed to be there and click on the arrow that shows to the left-hand side and it will jump back. Or you can just double-click and it will also go to the other side. Now that I've selected my fields, I click on Next. Would you like a detail or summary query? This is also a default setting where detail is selected. We don't change anything there. We just keep it on detail. We click on Next. The next window says, what title do you want for your query? Very important that you also read your instructions to see what the title is they want. Save the query as question 1B and your examination number. So I click where it says title. I've replaced what is there, question 1B and my examination number. That is all the information the wizard needs to create your query. People, now you always click on modify the query design, because we need to go into the design view of this query to put in the criteria that they give us. So you always modify the query design and then you click on finish. As soon as you click on finish, you will now be in the design view of your query. Remember design view of your table? This is the design view of your query. Here you will see there's your fields that you selected and it's from table tomato stock. You can sort it and you can put in the criteria. There will always be a criteria in your query, one or more criteria that you have to put in your query. Let's read the instruction. Add more than one criterion to filter only the supplier, treasure seeds, and only those items which are in stock. Only the supplier treasures seeds. So do you have a field name called supplier? Yes, there it is. So next to criteria, under supplier, they only want the supplier treasure seeds. They don't want any of the other suppliers. They only want the treasure seed supplier. And only the items which are in stock. So items stock available. Which ones are those? The yes or the no ones? If they're in stock, it will be the yes ones, the ones that you ticked. The ones that you ticked that's available, and only from the supplier treasure seeds. So I've put in my 2 criteria. I click on the grey cross. I say yes, I want to save my changes. Now on the left hand side you've got your table and you've got your query. Everything that you create in Access will appear on the left hand side here, whether it's a table, a query, a form, a report, or whatever it is that you create. There's my query, question 1b. Just going to take that away again. Now, only the supplier treasure seeds and the stock available, the 2 that were ticked, will show. Let's just go check our table. There were 1, 2, 3, 4 treasure seed suppliers, but only that one, the beefsteak tomato and the Cherokee purple tomato, had stock available. So if I go back to my query, Cherokee purple tomato, beefsteak tomato, the stock available and the supplier treasure seeds. That's my query. If I go to File, I go to Print, Print Preview again, Landscape. I can also do it in Landscape. Yes, Landscape, to make sure that all my columns fit. I go to Print and I will print it normally. After I print my query, I can close my Print Preview and I can close my query. On the left hand side, I've got my table tomato stock and my query, question 1b. Once again, if I right click on question 1b, I can go back to the design view and I can go make changes to it or fix it. Just close it then. After making changes, double click to open it, File and Print. File, Print, Print Preview, Landscape to make sure that everything fits, print it normally, and then I click on Close Print Preview and I can close my query. People, there will always be a criteria in your query. Make sure that you read the instruction, make sure that you see what criteria it is, make sure that you put it under the correct field name. For instance, you cannot put a yes or a no under price of stock because price of stock was a currency field. There was money in there. So you cannot put a yes or a word or a no or something like that under currency. So make sure that you choose your correct field to put your criteria. You put in your criteria next to criteria, you close it, and then you should have your query available.